Gosh, really wish I had something to do. It's always so boring around here. It's looking like it's gonna be a beautiful day, too. Ah, shucks. I remember that. The time I got those certificates. What a day that was. What a shame, too. God, it's beautiful out. I really wish I could get some business, you know? Shaping up to be a nice morning. Oh, what's that? No way. No way. The Milviz Cessna 310R? Fully fueled up? Ready to go? At my airport? Oh, we gotta go check this out. Man. Can't believe we just picked this up. Alright, so hopefully you could tell in that opening sequence we are at Seward Airport. That's Papa Alpha Whiskey Delta in the Milviz Cessna 310R. So we're out in Alaska today, and I figured I'd waive the $99 per every half hour for the scenic flight tour. Let's go ahead and get this aircraft rolling, and then we'll take to the skies and enjoy some of the scenery that this Alaskan territory has to offer. Appreciate, of course, you joining me today in this video. Hopefully everybody out there in viewerland is doing quite all right. And it'll take just a brief couple seconds or rather minutes to get this aircraft fired up, as it is touted as a study level aircraft. So of course it'll take us just a few moments, but that's okay. I kind of enjoy the intensity and the complexity of these aircraft that are more detailed in nature, as it were. Alright, so now that we got that all spawned up, let's go ahead and actually prime the right hand and left hand engines with fuel here. Alright, so let's bring the right and left magnetos for the right hand engine on and give this engine a crank. Alright. And we're going to let this machine idle at about 1,000 RPMs and make sure everything's in the green on the top right there. Of course it is. That's fantastic. Let's bring our alternator on, and we'll bring the auxiliary pumps off at the moment. Let's go ahead and bring our left-hand engine online. So, left-hand prime, left-hand magnetos off for the time being, and let's prime. Alright, right hand, left hand on the left-hand engine, and let's give it a start. Fantastic, right at 1,000. Everything in the right looking green, great. Bring the fuel pump back to offline and make sure that our left-hand alternator is on as well. We'll let the engine warm up. I'll try to keep the chatter to a minimum in this video so that we can enjoy the sounds, of course. once we get airborne and all these checks are completed. Let's call ATC and make sure everything's still the same as it was just a few moments ago.
Papa Alpha Whiskey Delta, automated weather observation 1400 Zulu. Wind 255 at 20. Visibility 9er. Sky condition, ceiling 1,800 feet broken. Temperature 15C, dew point 1 tree C, altimeter 29er
29er 2, standard barometric pressure. How about that? Let's announce a taxi.
Papa Alpha Whiskey Delta traffic November 5077 Juliet is taxiing to runway 31.
So, just to put that into perspective, let's bring up the VFR map real quick here. And 3-1 is going to be right down there at the end. We're going to have to taxi the active a little bit here. That's okay, though. I'll just cross over the Seward wording. We'll go down the active on 1-3 and then make a U-turn at 3-1. We'll do the mag run up down there as well to make sure our magnetos are both operating properly. Okay, so now that we have that all set, let's go ahead and remove our park and brake and getting on with the content. Should be some nice weather today. Get on up in the skies and see what Alaska has to offer for a view. I should suspect it will be quite nice. Yeah, let's just verify we have brakes before we get too far into this. Yeah, we do. Excellent. Always a good song. Alright, we're simulating both looking left and right while crossing the street. Do not want to get in the way of any air traffic. I suspect it's going to be a fairly mundane, laid-back flight. Shouldn't have any issues with traffic up here in rural Alaska, which is perfect for us because just look at the view out the front window. It speaks for itself. Quite heavy density clouds out there in the distance. It's alright. We're in a Cessna 310R. We can handle it. Especially one that's been recreated by Milviz. Fully confident. Alright, and I verify visually, of course, there is no active traffic out there, so let's go ahead and throw in the parking brake and test these magnetos on both engines here. And then we'll head up into the skies. And while I'm here, I'm also going to flip on our fuel pumps for takeoff. Alright, let's do that right hand. And that left hand. And while I'm at them, I'm going to cycle the propeller pitch levers as well. Right hand operational. Alright, left hand operational. It appears that we are ready. So we're in 77 Juliet today is our end number. Go ahead and call that out. Seward Air traffic. Runway 31 departure for 77 Juliet. All right. Make that U-turn and get out of town. And of course, this does not appear to be the runway. You want to have a single engine out and a dual engine aircraft, but nonetheless, let's go ahead and throw the flight yokes back on just to have some fun with the simulation. And let's run these bad boys up and get out of here. There's a brief stall warning horn, but that's okay. We're going to get that under control. Positive rate, gear up. And that's just letting us know that our landing gear is not down. And I'm going to bring the flaps all the way up. And promptly make a right-hand turn here. Start trimming the aircraft out for hands-off level flight. And just look at that valley with the clouds and the sun. Early morning there. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Of course, adding to the backdrop of this scenery out the window is the sounds of these engines on this aircraft. Just magnificent. Alright, gonna pull back a little bit on the manifold pressure there and on the propeller RPM. Make sure I'm in the green arch there. About 2,500 RPM as it were. Everything's looking good so far. Well worth the scenery for $99 for every half an hour, but that's okay. Like I said, it's free today. Some thermals over these bumpy terrains. No big deal. Let's go ahead and remove that yoke again, and I'll turn these fuel pumps back to the off position. Make sure I retract the landing light here. Those are the ones that hang down below the wing. Not want to create any excessive drag and add any fuel burn with the price of fuel these days. That would not be a financially productive thing to do. Alright, everything's looking great. And if you see the nose bumping up and down, that's definitely not me. This terrain is quite thermal. That's okay. Actually can't wait till they institute gliders into the sim. This would be quite an unbelievable place to try and fly a glider. All the navigational challenges, but I would imagine there's quite a few thermals, as you can see, with the way that it's bumping this aircraft around. Man, if they get that right at a SOBO, I would imagine it's going to be awesome to be flying those gliders. No noise, just the wind, and your thoughts. Fantastic. Can't wait. So we're going to go ahead and fly a little bit more out towards this massive cloud formation. Try to stay out of that, but I'm going to turn left right before we get to those clouds so that we can enjoy that mountain range. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and throw on the autopilot and head outdoors so that we can get some external shots. Welcome on back to the flight deck here. Have repositioned us for some extraordinary mountain ranges, of course, just right in front of us. We're kind of just moping around in the bay here, not getting too far, but of course with this kind of scenery you don't really have to go too far to see some stunning views out the windows here. Quite the place to fly. And basically where we came from is just beyond those mountains, and we'll turn right and we'll approach up through the bay there. Same exact opposite of the way that we had come on out on the way out to our scenery flight here. We'll be looking to make a straight-in approach to runway 31. And I hope everybody out there enjoyed those views. Appears though we're going to dip into some cloud coverage here, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the throttles back just a little bit, fly over these mountain ridges, try to stay lower than the cloud base. Once we get beyond this range here, the second vertical, I'll go ahead and make that right hand corner. And just off at our 1:30 to 2 o'clock position, we have runway 31. So I'm going to announce where we are right now and just say we're coming in for a final approach at Seward. .31 for a full stop. That'll be us.
Papa Alpha Whiskey Delta traffic November 5077 Juliet 9 miles southeast, 2,800 feet inbound to land runway
Through the
21.
cloud cover, just like that. And that's just a notification that it wants us to put our wheels down if we come back to flight auto. So I'm going to go ahead and preemptively turn the taxi on, or rather the landing lights as they were. And I'll start preparing for approach. As there's not a lot of air traffic, if any at all, I'm going to go ahead and call out the final right
Papa
now.
Alpha Whiskey Delta
Get that out of the
November
way.
5077 Juliet is on final runway tree 1 to land.
Let's get our field of view appropriate there for my tastes there. Throw in some flaps. And I'll just use that ship right there in the middle of the water as a rough reference. You can see our 2 white lines there, of course, for our approach. Our angle of attack there towards the 3-1 runway threshold. Not going to worry about that. We're plenty distance away with plenty of altitude and plenty of airspeed. Just looking to keep things under control, and everything seems to be going great. They already know that we're on final approach. And this way we can focus on making that landing a greaser. Do not have the gear down yet, like I said, just trying to save some airspeed for approach. Still can't get used to these mountain ranges. It is beautiful out here. And I'll correct a little right, and then we'll make a sloping, slow left turn there towards 3-1, giving ourselves plenty of room here to make that touchdown. Gonna go ahead and put the gear down. Transient to 3 green, indicating down and lock. Fantastic. I'll go ahead and throw some more flaps in there for final approach. And we'll fly straight in down to the numbers. White over white, just to the left of the threshold there at the end, indicating that we're a little bit high. One thing's for sure about this aircraft, when you put the flaps and the gear down, you definitely get a lot of air turbulence noise from the extension. Much more so than a lot of the other aircraft that I've had the experience flying in this M, of course. But it's all part of the character. Still a little high, that's okay. I'd rather be too high than not have enough altitude. Right over the water. And pull back the power. And set down. Little bit of waggle there, but that's all right. And I'm just going to run this out to the end of the runway. That way we can go back to the tour center. And as always, thank you for joining me today on this short hop and scenic air adventure. Hopefully you enjoyed the aircraft again. It's the second time on the channel. Hopefully you enjoyed the scenery. It's the first time on the channel here in Alaska. And I suspect we'll probably be back here again because you cannot beat the views on views on views here. That's for sure. Let's go ahead and bring the flaps up. Man, that's funny over there. Just beyond the nose, that guy traveling into his secret base straight through that terrain there. If you didn't see that, rewind the video. He went in and out of it a couple times. Always love that AI, huh? And back to Scenic Mountain Air as promised. Go ahead and make a right-hander here and try to get back closer towards the building. Just off the yellow threshold line for the active taxiway there. Little paddock. Well, I tell you what, sure beats hanging out in that office, that's for sure. Let's get some fresh air in here. And then I'm going to work on closing out this aircraft and shutting it down. So I'll go ahead and retract that now. Alright, that's been handled. Fuel pumps to the off position. And I'll go ahead and remove alternator for battery charge there. Let's look to our right and bring back the mixture, shall we? And the propellers. Fantastic. I'll leave the climate controls in the position they're already in. Flaps have already been brought up. Let's go ahead and hit the breaker bar and remove our magnetos for both engines. And I'll also hit the breaker bar to turn the battery off one last time there. So let's grab a final exterior shot. Back indeed. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I know I did. Consider subscribing possibly. Maybe throw me a comment. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like. Maybe even throw me a like. Anyhow, hopefully you're doing well out there in Viewerland, as I said. Thanks for watching. And until the next video, have a great day. Bye-bye.